I'm here at the midge-infected swamp that is Spot On Marine in Darwin. It is run by the crazy, vindictive manager, Michael Orr. This man has made threats against my person. He's also held me hostage for the last 3 weeks in this yard. I cannot rule out the fact that he didn't sabotage my Thru-Hull, and I cannot rule out the fact that he didn't poke a hole in my tank. He certainly made sure that no contractors came to my boat, even though I repeatedly asked for that. I went to an NT Marine facility yesterday. 2 minutes, they got me 2 contractors to come out the next day. I've been asking him for 3 weeks to send 1 person out to do anything to help me. But all he's done is overcharge me, not honor his contract, and make threats against my person. So as you can see from the sign, Spot On the Marine in Ludmilla Creek is where the Northern Territory dumps raw sewage into the water. Some of the raw sewage is not in the water. See like the poorly maintained equipment. You can see the big hole in their tires here. The same slovenly way they treat their travel lifts is the way they're going to treat your boat when they lift it. Okay, so here's the sewage swamp at low tide. Right here. See, there's not much water because of the 20-foot tides. No marked channel because the yard is totally inept. Don't know anything about boats, don't care anything about your boat. So there are no channel markers or directions or anything like that that a prudent yard owner would have if they had such a crappy access to the ocean. So the Thru-Hull, the not metered Thru-Hull, this is the backing plate. I don't know, the backing plate kind of failed. I think it's not a very good backing plate. I mean, it's not totally rotten, but was fairly rotten. Very easy to take off. I asked the yard if they would do the Thru-Hull, and they declined and said, do it yourself. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do it ourselves. This is the first for me. Although I've seen many of them installed. We're gonna, ideally you'd use 4200. We do have some Silcaflex 911, so we're not gonna use that. We have 5200, but no 4200. I don't want to use 5200 because if it fails again, then you have to saw it off and basically re-glass it. I'm gonna use this Fix Tech 15. Which says it's for Thru-Hulls. So it's supposed to be removable from what I can tell, and that's all I can get in Australia. But it looks pretty good. You know, in New Caledonia, Silcaflex would probably be what I would have used. But since this does specifically say it's for Thru-Hulls, I'll give this a try. I'll show you where it is down here. It's actually just opposite. The saltwater intake is the one that failed. The other issue we had, which wouldn't have been enough to put us back in the, I would have just lived with it, but the hoses for the engine exhaust were spewing out water, right? So we were getting salt water in the bilge from the engine exhaust. Now I might be able to tighten those down sufficiently to do that, but when I went to Hose Power, which is the big hose place to get those types of exhaust hoses here in Darwin. They were like, that's 2 inches. And I was like, no, that's 1.875 inches. And I measured it again, and it was 47 centimeters. And 2 inches would be 51 centimeters across. So I think they measured it wrong. The only reason I went with that was because we had used the same hose, I think, for hose power for one part of so there's like there's the exhaust elbow on the engine, and then there's an exhaust mixer. And so the section from the exhaust elbow to the exhaust mixer, the 2-inch inner diameter hose worked, but I think it may work if I tighten it down really well on the section going from the mixer to the back of the boat, but it may not. So I think it would be better if we got 1.875 inches, which is 47 millimeters inner diameter, and that would probably be better, but maybe a bit harder to affix initially, because if it's a little wider, it's easier to get on. But so I think that's a fixable problem. That was one that we didn't need to be hauled out for. And so since we are since we hauled out, so we went in the water, tested, we had the Thru-Hull leak, which was quite quick, and you saw the video of it. Then we're gonna replace that Thru-Hull, but we're also gonna paint the hull. The hull is kind of lost all its paint after being out of the water for 2 years. It looked really good when we left New Caledonia, but looked pretty crappy when we hauled out in here. And I made the dumb mistake of having them wash down the boat, because I thought, well, we could get it done, no problem. But then the yard declined to do it, even though we were willing to pay their exorbitant prices for it. So we're doing it ourselves. So me and Marcel here are gonna do the painting the hull, and then hopefully we get back in the water. And I think the other big issue is that we're running out of time, right? We're running out of time on my cruising permit. I'm told it's easy to renew, but I don't know. I mean, we got 7 days left in it. I called up Australia Border Force. They don't answer their phone. They let you give them a 10-second message. So I guess I'll try to email them. Anyways, so hopefully we can get this done in a couple days and maybe be in the water as early as Friday or Saturday, but maybe Monday is more realistic. You know, it's really going to depend on what the yard is willing to do. And at that point, there's pretty much no time to go into a marina. Even once we get in the water, maybe we anchor for a night, or maybe we check out before we go in the water. I don't know. And then, I mean, maybe we check out like at the customs dock, because I don't even think we're gonna have time to go in the marina. So that's the other thing. We have to arrange the checkout, and we're not there either. So we got to get in contact with Border Force, which is Customs and Immigration here. Because Michael Orr did such a bad job of putting the boat in the water when we noticed the Thru-Hull leak, that he almost scraped the boat on the ground, and you could see where he had hit the concrete dock many times with the boats, and he almost did that when he pulled our boat out of the water. We asked for somebody else the other travel lift operator, who had also been swearing at us when we were at the boatyard, to do that, but we thought he was more stable and would do a better job than Michael Orr did. Thankfully, we got an extension relatively easily with the Darwin Australian Border Force. I think the issue we had was my phone, for some reason, was not connecting to Australian phones properly, and that's why I kept on getting these voicemail messages. So I had to use a different SIM card to get in contact with people. When we got back in the water, the Thru-Hull held, and we didn't have any problems
and we were able to motor out of that hellhole that is Spot On Marine. So my time as a hostage to the abusive yard and owner Michael Orr and Spot On Marine was over. Thank goodness. You want to steer clear of that yard if you are in Darwin. I recommend that you haul. The most reasonable way to haul out is to haul out at the Darwin Yacht Club or at the Dyna Bay Yacht Club. You arrange for your own haul out through crane companies and block it up, and then your fees are very low for staying at either one of those boat clubs. The other alternative is NT Marine Facility, which is a bit more expensive and more focused on yacht repairs. But they're professional, unlike the abusive and sewage infested, midge infested swamp Spot On Marine. The worst boatyard I have ever been in.
Okay, so we got out of the hellhole that was Spot On Marine.